Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm Terry Olivia.
Harry Bolivia. Okay, the Screen Bloody Movies, a podcast
Isn't
where
that
we
what
review horror
Hulk
movies.
Hogan's name is?
Go. No, it's Terry Bollea.
Leia? That was close. That was pretty
Harry
close.
Bolivia. Welcome to Screen
I
Bloody
was pretty
Movies.
close, man. I was pretty close.
We're Derek
I feel like
Butcher's
if I had an
wrestlers'
accent
names.
one way or another, I would have gotten it.
Bolivia.
Anyway.
There's not a V in there at all.
Leia,
It's all way over
Bolivia.
my head.
Bollea. Yeah. Oh my God, this is off the rails already. I don't know why you're Hulk Hogan either. This is just crazy. Has nothing to do with tonight's movie. I'm at a loss. At a loss on this one, guys.
That's
How are you doing, Lydia? How are you doing?
Great. I'm doing great.
I'm not even going to ask how he's doing.
yeah. I'm well rested. I took my dog on a super long walk today and had a great time. So I feel good about it.
Good. So I'm doing okay as well. How are you, Hulkster? You doing fine?
I'm okay. I threatened my cat today. If that helps.
I feel like I had like a brain aneurysm.
I feel like Derek did.
No, I did get a haircut. So maybe my head's just a little lighter in the clouds.
You need to quit. You need to quit getting those haircuts. You're cutting all your wisdom off.
Yeah.
Guys, I came up with a really good joke, and I want to start it off this way because my wife did not appreciate this. So let's see if you guys do. Are you guys ready?
Oh,
all right.
Yes.
So here's the joke. What did the captain say to the skeleton crew?
What's that?
Bon voyage. I came up with that one all by myself. I'm pretty sure I've never heard that joke before.
Derek,
It's a good
that's
one.
terrible.
It's a good one.
Credit here, guys. Credit here.
Two dads exchanging dad jokes.
That's an interesting one. Good job. I'm glad you came up
Throwing
with
it
that
out
one all on
into the
your
ether.
Bon voyage. Interesting. Well, guys, all of that was wild, and I am sorry you had to endure it. But welcome to Screen Bloody Movies. This week we are going to talk about the Shia LaBeouf movie, Disturbia, which we'll get into here momentarily. But first, guys, I've got a handful of some horror news. I'm going to start with I'm going to give us some downbeat news so then we can end on a high note, okay? But I've got a little bit of downbeat news, so let's start with this one. Peter Jason, the character actor who was in a ton of John Carpenter movies, Escape from L.A., the Prince of Darkness, They Live. You guys know him for sure. He passed away this week. Here he is. You guys know Peter Jason right here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep. Great character actor. Passed away at the age of 80. John Carpenter posted about him saying Peter Jason, one of the great character actors in cinema, has died. His first movie was Howard Hawks' Rio Lobo. He was a dear friend, and I'll miss him dearly. He was also in tons of other stuff: Arachnophobia, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, Congo, Mortal Kombat, Dante's Peak. He's in Bruce Campbell's Alien Apocalypse as well. But Peter Jason, great guy, big movie career. So he will be missed, All right, on that same path of sad news, Derek, this is going to be devastating, but you got to hear it. Reggie Bannister has entered hospice care. He has been diagnosed with dementia and Parkinson's disease, and he's been diagnosed since 2016, and they are now moving him into home hospice care. He and his wife have encouraged fans to write in at a P.O. Box number so he can read your letters to him. And that P.O. Box number is P.O. Box 4387 in Crestline, California, 92325. So send Reggie your love. We love Reggie. Reggie's the man, right?
Yeah. He's
Oh,
the
yeah.
best.
Well, he was born in 1945, so he is going to be 80 this year?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. The Reg man. Yeah, he also, was a Vietnam War veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And of course we know him from the Phantasm films mostly, but he's also in Bubba Hotep, Wishmaster, Silent Night, Deadly Night 4. Unfortunately, he's in The Mangler Reborn, which Derek and I watched one weekend, and it was one of the worst movies we ever saw. But Reggie's a legend, so I'm definitely gonna write him a letter.
Yeah.
Send him some good vibes.
Yeah. Good dude.
So, Derek, this news is also for you. So, Edward Furlong is starring in a new adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story called Unspeakable: Beyond the Wall of Sleep.
Ooh.
Okay, we're going back to that, huh?
Yep, it's another adaptation of Beyond the Wall of Sleep.
Wow.
This is the third adaptation from this writer of Lovecraft. He also did the deep ones and the old ones. But yeah, so this is, on its way. We do have a screen shot if you want to see this screenshot, Derek, of this.
Derek can't wait.
There you go.
Now that he's got his new veneers.
Yep. What do you think of that picture?
I mean, the thing is, like, dude, he's had some really good movies. I wish him the best. I hope it turns out well.
Yeah.
I mean, that title just brings back some really fond memories.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, this looks like, it'll probably be good. It's, supposed to be boundary pushing gonzo film that, has a bunch of practical special effects by Joe Castro. And then they talk about how there was previously a 2006 movie adaptation of it. And we were, Derek and I know that one well, don't we, Derek?
Oh,
well, kind
we
of.
do.
We know that it puts folks to sleep. That's what we know about it.
On puts them to sleep on
VCRs.
VCRs, yeah.
Lydia, this news is for you. You're gonna love this. We got NECA has a Horror of Dracula Van Helsing figure.
All right.
I figured you'd want to see this guy here.
Let's see it. Oh my gosh. Dude.
Looks pretty great, right?
Look at the hands.
Yeah.
Like, how do they do it?
Here's his other outfits.
His faces. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is
Look at that.
Cool.
Look at that.
Look at that handsome devil.
Dude, he's one hand and a different face shy of Candyman in that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. The coat is very similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And scarf.
It's pretty phenomenal.
No, these look great.
Dang.
I like it. So I will be probably, if I find that one in the wild, I'll probably pick it up. It's it should be out in April and costs $37. So not too shabby.
Yep.
Looks incredible. Natasha Lyonne is starring in Joe Hill's new movie called Basket Full of Heads.
Ooh.
Directed by Anna Lily Amirpour. She's writing the darkly comedic horror comic is what it's adapted from. So yeah, Basket Full of Heads. That sounds fun. It's bring to life a new anti-hero who gets to pull into a bizarre adventure. So it looks like a supernatural, kind of dark horror comedy. I love Natasha Lyonne. Literally, I would watch her do anything.
She's pretty great.
Oh my God, she's the best. She's the best. She's so funny, and she's amazing. Super talented, super smart. I love Poker Face. I thought it was ingenious. That's some Ryan Johnson for you too. But yeah, I'd watch it. I'd watch Russian Doll, by the way, if you haven't seen it, is phenomenal. To check that shit out. And then finally, so guys, you remember us talking about that mysterious Steven Spielberg UFO movie?
Yeah.
That big blockbuster that he has out? Well, we have a release date now. It's June of 2026. So next year. We still don't have any sort of news except that we have a release date, that Emily Blunt is in it, Josh O'Connor's in it, Colin Firth is in it, and it's written by David Koepp. But we literally know nothing about it. Except that it's Steven Spielberg and UFOs, which is more than enough to get me on board, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time Steven Spielberg's dealt with aliens, it's been pretty terrific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's got a good track record.
Yeah, Close Encounters, one of the best films ever made. E.T., one of the best films ever made. War of the Worlds kicks a lot of ass. One of the best adaptions of that story. Yeah. So that should be exciting. And that wraps up this week's horror news. So, guys, picture it. It's 2007. Lydia, you're hanging out in school.
Yeah.
Derek and I are not in school. We are actually
In
several
college.
years. Yeah, we're in college and several years removed from school at this point.
Dang, that's crazy. You guys are old.
Yeah,
know,
I
don't
would have been
tell me.
graduated.
That's gray hair up here.
I'd have been graduated for 3 years. Derek, you would have been graduated for 15?
And I was like
Anyway.
a freshman.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
2007.
5 years.
Yeah, it'd have been 5 for you. So so yeah. Picture it, it's 2007. And you know who's one of the hottest actors, who's about to be one of the hottest actors in the world at this point, is Shia LaBeouf. He's breaking out at this point. He just done Holes. And a year from this, he's going to be starring in Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Mm-hmm.
And then Transformers this same year as well. I mean, he's about to break. So this is his first starring role, really, besides Holes, but this is his first adult starring role.
Yeah.
So when did you guys first see this? Lydia, is this your first time watching this?
No, it is not. I've seen this movie several times, at least a handful. I saw it when it came out, probably my freshman year. I specifically remember watching it at my friend Kara's house, like slumber party style, just a bunch of girls watching this. It was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Derek, you and I's first time seeing this was the same time.
I'll go with that.
Yeah,
Carrie.
it was. Yeah, you, me, and Carrie went to the theaters. We went to the movies and saw this. I think Joey might have been there as well. Because this was around the time where we would hang out all the time. And this movie was coming out. And, we just went and saw movies in general. So we're like, oh, this one looked pretty cool. We didn't know much about it, but we check it out. So I remember us going and watching it. And I remember thinking it was pretty solid. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and then I've seen it a handful of times since then. I think when it came out, my mom bought it on DVD, so I'd watched it then, and I think my mom and dad rented it at one point too. So it just was one of those I'd seen about 3 or 4 times, but I haven't seen this movie since probably 2009 to 2010.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I second that.
It's been a long time. So I remember the bones of the movie before this watch. I remembered the bones.
Mm-hmm.
So I remembered like the big beats, like, I knew what the plot was. I knew the twists, but there's a lot in this movie that I forgot. Like the entire third act, I forgot. I forgot the entire third act. So as it's happening, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of remember this. Oh yeah, I kind of remember this. But like it was pretty. A lot of times when we do these, I'm like, if it's one I've seen, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember all of this. But this one, since it's been so long, it didn't quite feel like a first watch, but it was, kind of close in a lot of. Did you guys feel that way?
Yeah, I definitely remembered a lot of it. But there were parts that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, I actually remembered pretty much the entire thing. To be honest with you, the biggest surprise I had coming out of this movie was like, since we've started this podcast, the exposure to older movies, because I never watched those. Rear Window.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
This is just the modern day Rear Window. That was the biggest shocker to me. I was like, duh. But I remembered all the beats, really. It's also been a long time since I've seen this movie. 2007, so I probably haven't seen this movie since 2010, so easily 15 years.
Yeah, same for me. And like I said, I remembered the big beats, but like that third act, like I knew what happened. I knew how it ended.
Yeah.
But like there was parts of where it took place. I was like, oh, right. Yeah. Because I was like, there probably could have been a smoother way to have done some of this stuff.
Yes, I agree. I want to get into that.
Which we'll get into. But let's basically, Derek, you kind of said it. This movie is Rear Window in 2007. The setup is pretty similar. I mean, it's the same. It's not similar. It's the same. It's just the circumstances are different. Instead of breaking his leg and being confined to a wheelchair like Jimmy Stewart, Shia LaBeouf is on house arrest because he's in high school and he punches out his Spanish teacher. And so like the very beginning, when they're fly fishing and stuff, I was like, I don't remember this. I was like,
I didn't either.
I was like, I remember him being on house arrest. I don't remember this. And then so when they get in the car, I was like, I remember this. But the opening fly fishing, I was just like, have I fucking not seen this movie? What is going on? Is this like an extended cut? Am I confusing this with Eagle Eye? What is going on?
Oh,
man,
my gosh,
now Eagle Eye I haven't seen in a very long time. But dude, that opening scene is really heartbreaking, man.
Terribly heartbreaking.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And asshole drivers like that guy that was in front of him, man. I would have healed up and found out who that was, and I'd have broke their kneecaps. I didn't want to go to, I didn't want to kill him because he'd go to prison, but assault charges, you could do some time.
You just end up on house arrest. It's fine.
Yeah.
It would have been the same.
No, but seriously,
exactly.
that's a terrible, terrible thing.
It was very upsetting. I completely forgot that the movie started with his dad passing away in the car accident, that he was driving the vehicle and they were both, involved. And you think they flip the car and you think they're in the clear, and then they're not in the clear because another car comes along and hits the vehicle, and it is devastating. So we have to talk about this shot that he is looking in the vehicle.
Yeah, it's a good shot. I like that shot.
I don't know how many seconds, but it's long enough to really, really make you feel it. And Shia LaBeouf can act his way. I'm so impressed with his acting. I just am. It's so good.
He's a good actor.
He's
questionable.
And it's like I don't really watch Shia LaBeouf stuff anymore, or like support him anymore, but like his acting in this movie really is genuinely, I mean, like Jimmy Stewart level good, like
No, there's parts of the movie where he is really good, like that opening scene. Then there's other parts where he's fine. He's like really broad. I mean, that's how he was directed to be.
yeah.
The one thing that I always have said about Shia LaBeouf is he kind of mumbles sometimes. I feel like when he's probably like marble mouths, and I'm like, what the fuck did he just? What the fuck did he just say?
Yeah.
No, but he is really good in this movie, and I think all the performers are pretty solid in this movie across the board. We have Carrie-Anne Moss as his mom. So this the Spanish teacher bit. This bit is this is one of those little kind of like OTT moments, in the movie, little over the top. He's just like, I'm cartoon villain teacher. Your dad thinks you're a disappointment, and he's dead. You're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
Does that
It was so out of line to say that to him. I'd have punched him too.
I 100% agree with you that a teacher would probably not respond that way and invoking your dead father, like, come on, give me a break. But I also kind of wonder, like, the way that he was like, how dare you disrespect me? Like, I'm kind of like, does he go to a private school instead of a public school? Like,
no, it's definitely a public school. You could tell by the way folks are dressed. Ronnie is Ronnie. Ronnie's not in any fucking private school. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Ronnie's dumbasser than anything.
I feel like he was coming like from a loving place, but you said the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Seemed like
the empathy that you need to have in those.
Yeah. Well,
it's just a kid who's clearly struggling this much over this accident. You cannot just bring that up in front of everyone and call him out.
Especially, why would you call him out in front of everybody anyway, instead of being like, oh, okay, well, you need to see me after class.
Yes, exactly. That, and also, it's none of your business. Like, sorry, but it's none of your business.
It's fucking Spanish class. It's fucking Spanish class. What are we doing here?
I absolutely failed Spanish class, and
I mean, I passed it, but I mean, I didn't do my homework a lot of the times either.
Oh, I don't want to tell you about my Spanish class escapades.
Oh man, you're probably putting Spanish fly in everybody's drinks or something.
No, I have a really funny story about Hobbs.
Okay, we'll tell it at the end of the episode in your story time.
Okay. Remind me.
So, yeah. Anyway, so that's the catalyst to get him on his house arrest, and then we spend a good chunk of the movie, the good next whole act, just day in the life stuff, just setting up his boundaries, where he can go, how the technology works, which is not how the technology works, by the way. Right. But the fact that he runs down the street, runs back, and that cop is already there, blew. I was like, was he just fucking sitting down the street waiting for him? Like, what? And then, especially since he takes 45 fucking minutes at the end of the movie to get there, you're like,
well, and he also has a personal vendetta against him.
He does have a personal vendetta.
The Spanish teacher was his cousin,
which is something. Also, by the way,
yeah, like it's like still like it's that's not professional to be like.
Yeah, and it's a child. It's a child. What are you doing?
It's a child who has suffered a severe trauma.
So yeah, this whole like first act and stuff, what we set up, like basically his routine, him, checking on just watching different people, him being a 100% pervo on his new neighbor. I mean, guys, this is
it's
100%.
So there's a scene later in the movie.
Super cute, right? Super cute, not creepy.
Yeah, sure. There's a scene later in the movie when they're at when she leaves her party, because he like calls, basically makes her come over by playing the music. And he tells her all the stuff that he's watched her do because he fucking has been peeping Tom on her. And she's like, that's either the creepiest or the cutest thing. Goes up and kisses him. And I'm like, in what world? In what world? What are you
Dude,
fucking
I was
talking about?
Dude,
I was losing my
I
mind.
tried that on a girl one time, and I got the cops called on me. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That never happened. That never happened.
You would have, though. You would have 100%. That's
Yeah,
the one bit in
like,
the movie
man,
that
why
literally
couldn't-
made me laugh out loud. I was like, no.
Yeah. As I think like
Lydia,
like
you're
watching this
the
movie
female
as
of
an
the-
adult,
Mhm.
Yeah,
like watching this as an adult, it's completely different perspective.
it is. And as an adult in 2025, not in 2007, is
Mhm.
also a big thing about it. But yeah, it still makes me laugh really hard when she's.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm watching it, and she goes, and they start making out. I was like, okay, they needed
Dude.
some way for them to get together. I guess that's the way they chose.
So bad.
Cracked me up. But they don't even start like creeping on their neighbor, Robert, until over halfway through the movie, around halfway through the movie. Like, because we get the other neighbors, and then him and his mom drama. And by the way, this movie is one of the most 2007 movies you'll ever see in your life, right? Like, it was hitting me with so many sensory memories as I'm watching it. Him, drinking the Red Bull, and then watching the like music television, and then System of a Down playing over the soundtrack.
Oh my god, I was losing my mind.
And I'm like, this movie is so 2007. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
All the flip phonies and all the good stuff. I was like,
The
wow,
Xbox.
that was like the Xbox,
Well,
the original Xbox Live.
Well, the iTunes, the iPod. I mean,
Yep.
time capsules are more than just like physical objects. Sometimes they are movies, and this movie's got a lot of
It's an
nostalgia.
era, man. Yeah, it's an era.
Baked right into it like a cake.
Well, especially since it's it's teenagers. So I wasn't quite a teenager in 2007. I was in my early 20s, but I was not far removed from being a teenager in 2007.
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, when this movie came out, I was not allowed to drink yet. I wouldn't be allowed to drink for another month. So it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just
And you
so
had
crazy.
a teenage brother that was like this age.
Literally this age. He, Zachary graduated that year. So, I mean, he was literally Shia LaBeouf's character, Kale. He was Kale's age. So that stuff's a lot of fun. And seeing the technology they use for everything. So we get like little setups of like the missing girl on like the news, because he's watching some kind of like Girls Gone Wild type show. And his mom comes in. It's like just some chick just like caressing her own breasts or something. And then we go back. His mom walks in. So he changed it to the news. And then so he kind of starts picking up on these news of like missing women. And then one night after he had creeped on old Ashley, isn't that her name? Creeped on Ashley enough, she came over, and then he and Ronnie and Ashley are like hanging out. And he and her start to see the creepy neighbor with a woman. And we get like that's when we get our first like real, kind of, maybe there's more to this going on, because he's kind of suspicious at one point. He hears about the crash. He sees his dented car. So he's kind of telling them about these things that he's like, I think maybe this guy might be the killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of that scene in the house with the woman dancing?
It's got a little suspense when he's approaching her with a knife. Gonna cut off her tag.
Yeah, I think he cuts her
But-
dress off, but
Huh? No, he cut off like she still had a tag.
Yeah,
tag
Yeah,
for
she
but-
had a tag because she was going to return the dress.
yeah,
Now she
Yeah.
can't.
now she can't do it.
Um,
But
We got to talk
Go ahead.
about the lead up because this is
Yeah.
when the girl comes over and invites
Yeah.
herself into his room
yeah,
and picks up the binoculars. So at this point, it was him and his friend. He's like showing his friend around, like, look at all this that I'm seeing, like from just
Yeah.
in my house, like it's better than TV. And he's like, and this is the best part. And they go to the neighbor's swimming pool where the girl is like underwater, and he's like, oh my God. And, like, you can't even
Oh,
see her.
man.
She's underwater. She's like all squiggly.
and he's
They're
like
used
getting close
to
to
scramble
run to the
porn.
window.
Trust me. We had seen so much scramble porn that wavy lines were fine. We can
Right,
make them
right.
out.
Oh,
But
man.
I don't know. It's just then the friend kind of comes over, like making it a habit to come over to like peep with his friend, and like he like falls into the window and makes a loud noise.
Mhm.
And she is totally on to them the whole time. She's like, obviously, this guy that I saw get handcuffed in his front yard is
The first time I
looking
saw him, yeah.
directly into my bedroom windows every night. Like, she knew. And at this point, she comes in and she just like kind of takes over. And I was like, dude, this girl, she's not like a cougar. She's like a mongoose.
Yeah, yeah.
She like went
She
straight
does-
into the snake's den. Like, he was acting so creepy at the door too. Talk about creepy. He was
He's
being a
acts
total
creepy throughout the
weirdo.
whole thing. He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's a total weirdo through the whole movie. Yeah, yeah.
Red flags for sure. But she, she's just like whatever, and then they hit it off. They seem to be fine.
Yeah, she's just like, that's fine. You guys can check me out. It's all cool.
Yeah, and that he's like, well, the we weren't being creepy. We were looking at the neighbor because he's a killer, probably.
Yeah. Yep. We think he's a killer. Here's why. Oh, really? And then so they get like a little Scooby-Doo gang together essentially, and they just kind of do like shifts of stakeouts. And then we get
He's like,
this.
where's the coffee and donuts?
Yeah, that's the only way you have stakeouts. You're like, what the fuck is going on? I was watching it this time. I was like, what is this movie?
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, the bit I think is pretty cool is when the lights go out. Like he sees her leave,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly, because he sees him like standing in the window, just standing there, and then we see her leave and drive off, and he's like, oh well, she left, but we find out later that it was him wearing a wig. Well, I don't know whose benefit he was doing this for, but it's fine.
I mean,
Because
he kind of threw him off of his tail.
he
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
he knew that he was being watched. He knew the whole
Well,
time.
he did at that point, I suppose, but did he know when he bought the wig? Does he just have that wig laying around?
That was I feel like that was the first dead girl's wig.
Maybe.
Because she in her ID, she has red hair.
Yeah. But either way, I think we'd be able to tell their body types apart in real life, but
for
that's okay.
sure. That was a huge dude.
That's a big guy, and she's a dainty.
And he's
woman.
wearing her heels.
That he also he had to commit. He's in for a pint, in for a pound. So yeah, what do you guys think of like the so in this kind of middle section is where the movie kind of it starts to ratchet up the tension a little bit more. Like we get a little bit more thriller stuff, with like they're starting to get more brazen with their attempts on his on his property. They need evidence for stuff. So like she tails him while old Ronnie goes and messes with his car to, what do you guys think of this whole bit? Like, first of all, the fact that, she does a terrible job of tailing for first and foremost.
I mean, she's not a private eye.
No, she's a kid. She's a kid, obviously, but it's just funny. And then the fact that he plays it off like, oh, you're totally into me. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mm-mm.
That
was terrifying.
I was like,
I think what
creepy.
this movie does really well is the suspense like this is a very suspenseful movie. It's stressful to know that these stupid children are tampering with an actual serial killer. Like,
That's kind of the fun, right? Yeah.
It's so stressful. So suspenseful. I was on the edge of my seat, and I've seen this movie several times, so I was like, I already know what happens, but
that scene is pretty good with him in the car, because
that was scary.
I'm like, oh man, that would be. I mean, I could just imagine tailing somebody, and then not only are you burnt, so you're made, but then he gets in the car and takes your keys, and he's a much bigger person than you are, and and then he makes it out to be like, oh, you're watching me because you like me, when he knows that they might be on to who he really is. So he, throws off the scent about, a little older. I was like, dude, I think that girl's like 17.
I mean, he's already established his regard for the law is lacking.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, but come on, man, it's a whole nother level of ick. What are we doing here?
But I also
that's the scary thing.
Yeah, before we move off of this, man, how good is that actor in these scenes?
Yes, David Morse. He's great. He's great always.
Yeah, he's been in some really like good movies, but he definitely played it off great.
Yeah, he's been in tons of amazing movies.
Oh yeah.
Let's just name a couple. The Good Son, 12 Monkeys, The Rock, Long Kiss Goodnight, the Negotiator, The Green Mile is where he's most known.
Yeah,
as Brutal. 16 Blocks, he's great in the Bruce Willis movie. Yeah, he's freaking great. He's great. Yeah, he's really great in this movie too. Ronnie, let's talk about Ronnie, because Ronnie is a dumbass.
I feel like that actor was typecast because he was in this movie and he was in the Friday the 13th movie and kind of played the same character.
He is in the Friday the 13th remake, and he does play essentially the same character. Chewie is his name in Friday the 13th. As soon as he popped up, I was like, Chewie was in this movie, because I had watched that movie way more than I've watched this one. So that's what I remembered him from. But his character is great because he's like the, best friend, and he's like taking it half serious but full serious. Like he leaves his phone in the car, so it's like, oh God, we got to get the car back or get the phone back, and then
I'd be like, the phone is gone.
Yeah, forget about it. Then they try to hatch a new plan. One of the best scenes is when Gail's in the kitchen and he closes the door and Robert's standing in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
this made me so
like
mad.
their first like face-to-face meeting. It's pretty good. Like when I see these movies, there's always like there's a similar scene to this in Fright Night, and they're like, our protagonist is very confrontational. And I don't know if it was me, I would hide that very well. You know what I mean? I'd be, this is going really nice, not letting them know that I know you're a creep.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Charlie, don't tell Jerry that you know he's a vampire because he'll fucking kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Kale, don't let this guy know that he's a murderer because he will fucking kill you. So play nice. Play the game for a little bit. They never do. Immediately, there's also a really funny bit where he's like, he says he wants to take his mom out for coffee or whatever, or dinner, and he's like, not happening. And she says yes, and he's like, I mean, for me, obviously, you guys can do what you want, but I'm not going. It's like, good
I
cover.
was so annoyed with the mom. Like, I was really annoyed with the mom's character. Honestly, I really like her as an actress, but I feel like she just didn't have enough like to do in this movie.
Screen time.
No, she doesn't.
Like she should have had a little bit more emotional impact. I mean, like her husband was also killed, and she's just like,
well, she's
does
trying
not
to keep
say She doesn't say a single thing about him.
Well, that's just how that was written. She's
It bugs
kind
me.
of trying to hold everything together. I, as a father, totally understand her now. As a kid, I'm like, you got to listen to him. What are you doing? And now that I'm a parent, I'm like, hey, you got to listen to your mom, man. Like, of course. Can you imagine, Derek, if Clark is on house arrest because he punched his teacher? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then he gets arrested again for breaking into the neighbor's house. What are you supposed to believe?
There was no communication. There was no communication going on.
No.
Like, she did not, nobody was asking him how he felt, if he was okay. They were like, do you want to talk about anything? And he's like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, I don't have anything going on. I'm on house arrest.
Well, then that's what but then she did. She did see if he wanted to talk about anything. That's on him if he doesn't want to say anything. He's
she didn't try very hard.
pretty much 18. He's pretty much 18. He's just under. That's why he only got house arrest.
Yeah, he would have been in therapy. Is where I would have put him. And not to be mean, but like, he's obviously dealing with some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scene where he goes to go in his dad's office. He doesn't try to go in there, but he opens the door and just to like probably
Look
to have
in it.
that memory.
Yeah. The so when old Ronnie gets locked in the garage essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and it freaks out Kale, so he breaks into his neighbor's house, to Robert's house, and the police come and all that kind of stuff, and he basically tells him, hey, let's he's killing people. Basically, that's what he tells him. Hey, he's a murderer. That's the first time he tells anybody this. Hey, he's a murderer. And so they pull out the things, and we get deer carcass, because they see him earlier with pulling out red stuff, and we see blood splat. Which, by the way, that shot is wild. Where we just see blood splatter on the window. We're like, what the fuck? But
that was like during the party.
Yeah. Like, okay, hold it down there, Robert.
Dexter.
Yeah, no shit. Basically, he did. He had a Dexter room in his house. But what do you guys think of that whole bit?
I thought it was intense. I thought it was scary. Him running through the house. I was, like, oh no, he's definitely gonna get killed. In my memory, I was like, he gets killed here, like for sure. And then I misremembered that apparently he didn't get killed.
Who, Ronnie? You thought Ronnie got killed?
Yeah.
He would have wished that he got killed, because I would have killed him myself, man.
Yeah.
So I like the bit after he finds he's like, after they find the deer carcass, and of course for some reason the only officer that ever answers any call at Kale's house happens to be this dickhead Spanish teacher cousin, and like just doesn't listen to a word he says, and like tries to make his life a living hell of everything. And when he after he says, oh well, I switched the fender, because I have a car show coming up. He's like, oh, you got a car show coming up, you real big car guy? That always just makes me laugh. Yeah, really big car guy.
He is so aggressive.
Yeah, he's overly aggressive on it, especially when there's
like
nothing.
He's been watching that guy mow his lawn twice a day, every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's red flags, man. That's a red flag.
That's one. And so once the third act hits, like you talked about, Derek, Ronnie, decides to scare him in the closet. And that's when we get like the big reveal, because what ends up happening is his mom goes over to talk to Robert to kind of say, hey, my son's going through a hard time. Let's not press charges, not send him to jail, kind of thing. And for some, Yeah, and so here's where things start to fall apart in this movie for me. Because I feel like this whole kind of third act is a little improbable. Like, it doesn't make sense for him. He basically has gotten away at this point, for the most part. But so instead, he decides he's going to murder this whole family and somehow try to make it look like a suicide.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had I didn't know we had Dr. Kaufman from fucking Tomorrow Never Dies on this one, but apparently that's who he is. Like,
he's
what do you
all
guys
of.
think
I
of
think
this?
they were trying to make him like the scariest movie monster because they have him in a blue jumpsuit. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're like, put him in a blue jumpsuit, make him the scariest guy. He knows their plan before he even knows who they are somehow.
yeah.
He's around every corner. He knows the girl's following him. He knows they're all. He's like, you can just pass on this message. Like, why?
Yeah.
How does he possibly know all of this stuff? And like, even when they're chasing him, he like does the magical like popping up in front of them all of a sudden. And I was like,
Yeah,
dang it.
yeah, yeah. So
He's all knowing somehow.
So he bashes her face into a wall and then goes over and smacks old Ronnie in the face with a baseball bat and then attacks Kale. And they have like a pretty good fight, a pretty good drag out fight. I think it's a pretty well choreographed bit. And we get that cool suspense when he's trying to pull the like the what would you call it? The Wi-Fi, the router, basically the router for his modem for his for his ankle monitor. He's trying to pull it out because then the cops will come, and then he's trying to get outside of the boundary because then the cops will come. And that bit where he's climbing and he almost gets there, and we're on the ankle monitor, and then he pulls him back and knocks him out is pretty good. And then he turns into a James Bond villain, where he decides to tell Kale his entire master plan. So now that I've got you here, have you figured it out yet? I'm going to I'm going to kill your mom, then I'm going to kill, your friend, and then I'm going to say that you did it out of a fit of jealousy because he was texting your girlfriend, which I'm assuming that he texted from Ronnie's phone because he had it. And he just gets super sloppy and he's like, I'm going to have you write a note. Write a note.
It's so dumb. It's a terrible plan. It's a terrible plan.
It's not a great plan at all.
They all know.
Yeah.
Like Ronnie knows, the girl knows. Is he going to kill all of them?
Yes, he's going to kill all of them.
He's going to kill all of them. No way that would ever pan out.
So he's wanting to kill the mom, Ronnie, and Kale. And he's not going to get Ashley because she's not around. So he's just going to get those three and essentially make it look like he killed Ronnie because he was texting Ashley. And then he was going to kill then he killed his own mom because she got in the way. Then he killed himself because he killed his mom. Then he gets knocked out. Like he gets punched out in the face, but because he's distracted, and we get like a little another fight where they knock him down the stairs, and he's trying to bash through the door, and then they jump out of the window into her pool. What do you guys think of all this bit?
I liked that pool jumping bit. That was fun.
It was fun. He does a Nicholson bashes through the door with the baseball bat, and we get the shot of his face through it. He doesn't say "Here's Johnny" or anything, but it's kind of, it's kind of implied. And so we get that whole bit, and then he goes over to the house to save his mom. And he just kind of walks in there, knowing that Robert's still alive. He's still out there, and he knows he's going to his own house. He just walks in and he's just like screaming and yelling the whole time. So he finds the corpse. He sees it. He sees the dead woman's corpse in the grate on Ronnie's video, and so he goes in there and he
which
sees
is
that there's
kind of hilarious
yeah, yeah.
if you think about it.
It is. It's kind of funny. And then we see like he has like a lot of dead bodies in his house. Apparently, he just fucking burying them in the pool underneath, in this like fucking float area. I don't know what's going on. He's just fucking just killing a lot of people in his house, just leaving them
He's
underneath.
got trapdoors and hidden passages.
He's got a hidden passage and
He's
that
got
has a
tunnels.
whole fucking a tunnel that leads to a Dexter room.
That leads to more tunnels.
It gets a little. It gets a little much.
Yeah, it leads straight to the poltergeist swimming pool for sure.
What I was saying, it leads into the poltergeist swimming pool with a bunch of dead bodies. Jeez. And so their final confrontation is it's fine. Like he stabs him in the back, in the shoulder, and then Kale ends up ramming him in the stomach with some garden shears, and he falls into the poltergeist pool dead. I just feel what do you guys feel about the third act?
I have a lot of feelings for sure. The biggest one being that Kale hasn't like grown from his
he doesn't really have an arc.
Trauma that we were introduced him with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His character arc kind of didn't get anywhere except having a girlfriend now. Kind of bugs me a little bit.
Yeah. One thing I'll note, when he made it back upstairs, or whenever Ashley came up and she kind of saved him, and he was tied, they find a pair of scissors, and they cut the duct tape off. Why you wouldn't then cut your ankle bracelet to alert the police?
Yes.
That is the biggest plot hole that I saw. Was like, well, that's the easy one. Like, cut the ankle bracelet, and that will trigger that whole event.
I was thinking that the whole time too. I was like, he's doing everything except trying to tamper with it, like she said.
Yeah.
Also, that the cop gets killed in this. We have to mention that because he's the worst cop. He's the worst cop ever, and just kind of floats down the hallway. Doesn't sense the giant blue overall wearing man beside him.
Yeah,
I mean, he's hidden around the corner. Like, he's well hidden. It's dark. The lights are out.
That's pretty funny. Pretty funny that he just breaks his neck with these. Like, I mean, like, yeah, the Shape would do that because he's the fucking Shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like they were highly inspired
by the Shape, yeah. There's definitely some...
for sure. Like I said, the overalls, like what is what is that?
Yeah, so I feel like the third act is a little messy, right? Because I feel like there's too much going from A to B. Like there's probably a way to kind of streamline it a little bit. As far as, maybe they're all trapped at that house. And then, I get why they need him to go to his lair. That way we discover all of the bodies. That way we discover that way he has to rescue his mom. Those are the stakes. It's just that I think they fight too many times. Because they fight like 3 times in that span. And I think they should only have fought maybe once, if not twice. Twice would have been okay. But I feel like the third's too much. Because then at that point, you're just kind of like, well, he just kind of, runs from this guy every time.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the third act as a whole?
I don't hate it, but
no, I don't hate it either.
Like you said, it's a little sloppy, but it's action packed. It's eventful. It's stressful.
I would agree. They probably did fight too many times, and there were too many like transitions from like one place to another. They could have organized it probably a little bit better. The overall like suspense of it and things like that. Okay, but it could have been cleaned up a little bit for sure.
Yeah. I don't hate it or anything. I think it's fine. But the ending of the movie, I don't love. I
hate it.
There's things that I think are fun in it that I do like, but then there's things that I just don't love. I don't love the shot of he and his mom walking out of the garage. It feels really weird in that spot because it's just like a shot of just them walking out with, and we just see sirens, so they don't have to bring police cars there, which I know how that goes. But it's just like it's just really awkward in that moment. Like they could have easily transitioned from them, kind of holding themselves even crossfaded into the next day, or when they're kind of wrapping things up. That's kind of what they do anyway. They just add that one weird shot of the garage. That just felt really weird to me. Also, I will say the reason I think it felt extra weird to me is because there's a commercial break right there in the Pluto TV version.
Oh yeah.
So it's like there's a commercial break right there, and then it picks up right with, and you're like, do we really need that? Oh, that's.
Did you guys get commercials, by the way, in this?
Yeah.
Oh,
lots of them.
None of the commercials
like
popped
5.
up for us.
Oh, they all did for me.
And for some reason, you could tell that there was like a pause in the movie, and then none of the commercials actually played. It would just be like, boop, and then like,
that's nice.
Actually, it was the like when you pause, like the pause screen, or like when you're like the little icons popped up at the bottom.
Oh,
and we were
lucky you. No, I had this movie took me like 2 hours to watch, 2.5 hours to watch because of all the commercials. I felt like.
I don't know why we didn't get them.
But
it was like a glitch.
Yeah, you got a good one. But no, so I do think it's funny that he gets the comeuppance on the boys. That's fun. Like, because we set that up earlier.
Fun, yeah.
We set that up of them being dickheads to him, and then we set up him seeing them watching the porn on the TV. So for him to call is really funny, the way he calls and everything, and gets him in trouble. I like that. But like you said, Lydia, there really isn't. I mean, I guess maybe his character arc is that he's kind of opening himself up and out of his shell that he was in after his dad passed away. Maybe he's moving on. But he kind of acts the same, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like he's man, me and Jake got into like a huge discussion about this movie and just really deep dived into this problem that I had of him not confronting his dad's trauma of like losing him at all. As soon as he sees that there's a girl next door, they do not mention the dad ever again. And that really bugged me.
Well, I mean, I get why. That's not the movie they're making. They're making a fun, suspenseful teen pop movie. So, they're making a little say anything mixed with Rear Window. So I get that. So you don't need, all the darkness to drag it down because it's trying to be kind of, lighter and with the horror stuff.
Maybe you didn't
thriller.
Need 10 seconds staring at his dad's dead body in the vehicle, the crumpled, mangled vehicle, if you weren't going to somehow pay off that was a problem for him. Like, that bugs me so bad.
I think they pay it off. I think the payoff is, like I said, I think the payoff is just that he is over, like, he's accepting of, like, people and, getting over his trauma of feeling like it's his fault, especially since he saved his mom, maybe.
Yeah, like he's like a survivor. Like I can see that. I can see that. I just wish there would have been like a swing away moment, like from Signs, where
I don't want there to ever be a swing away moment from in
you don't
any
like
movie.
that? You don't like that? Dude, that's so good. What are you talking about?
No, we'll get
Like
into signs eventually.
Like something that like grounded him to his dad that helps him win. Like,
So
I
I
don't
do
know.
get
Maybe
where
I'm
you're
crazy.
coming from, Lydia, because like the gravity of that situation, it does pull on the movie. And like that scene where he opens the office door, right? He's still processing that. I guess if you were to like kind of bottle it up, like him going on house arrest is kind of like, I don't know. You could kind of like tie that back to him like getting off of house arrest. I don't know. I get where you're coming from. I do. I feel like if they would have changed the opening to be not so um like impactful, like something more like, oh, they have a split family and he's doing silly stuff like spray bashing mailboxes or something. I have no ties to that whatsoever. Like he comes out on the other side and he's reformed, but I get it.
Yeah. The ending to me is fine. It's just it's not the best because, like I said, it's just kind of. I do like that Ronnie survives. Nobody dies in this movie except for the killer and his victim that we don't really know. None of our actual people that we know die. None of our real players die.
Randy died.
Ronnie shows up with like a
the officer.
yeah. I guess he dies. He's the one murder. Yeah, and then the killer, obviously.
That Spanish teacher is going to have a really hard time with him now.
Yeah, now he's going to definitely blame him. Well, I'm guessing that he is a junior, right, going into senior year.
Gotta be, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
What
do you think of the filming the makeout? Because that I hated so much. I lost my mind. I was like, no, stop. He just was like, shows up with the camera, filming them making out on the couch, and then they look up and see him and laugh and start making out some more. I was like, these kinky little bastards. Like, what is happening?
Fun reference to YouTube. They're like, the next viral video on YouTube.
Yeah. Like, this is going up on YouTube, and he flips them off. It's like I mean, I could see it as like a fun little thing when you're hanging out with your friends. You're like, look at this. But it does happen for an uncomfortably long time.
It does. I could have used a lot less of that. And maybe I would have disagreed in high school. Maybe I would have been like, yeah, that's cool. But
yeah,
I was like, man, these guys all have a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Kale is your wish fulfillment in high school. I mean, that's kind of what you're like, yeah, wouldn't it be awesome to like live next to a really hot neighbor, and then for like you to like, she just gets undressed all the time, you can see it, and then you solve a murder, and then she falls in love with you, and then you're with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my dream in high school.
That sounds badass. Yeah. Sounds like a badass time. Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's what the movie is. This movie was directed, by the way, by DJ Caruso, who's done a couple of movies that you've seen before. He's done this one, obviously. The Disappointments Room is a horror movie that he's done. You remember that? Have you seen that one, Lydia?
No.
With Kate Beckinsale? So that one, he's done, tons of TV. Oh, he also did Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage. Definitely need to point that out. Great time for that one.
Title.
But guys, the best part about this movie is it was actually co-written by and I didn't know this until I started researching this. It was co-written by Christopher Landon, who did, the Happy Death Day movies and Freaky.
I can see that.
Yep. This was
Oh. Uh-oh.
Sorry about that.
Did you close the wrong tab?
I hit the back button on the wrong tab. I went to hit the back button on this one, and it just shut me up. Oh no! It messed up this recording too. Hang on. Oh, I was going to be in 2 parts. I'm so annoyed right now. All right, there we go. So this part's going to be my video is going to be in 2 parts. One big one and then one little small one. So anyway, yeah. So I thought that was interesting that this was written by Christopher Landon. I didn't know that until I started researching for this episode. So guys, that is Disturbia. Which, by the way, we got to talk about the name of this movie, guys. Disturbia. He actually says the name in the movie.
Oh gosh, I know. That was terrible.
He's like, yeah, welcome to Disturbia. And I was like, oh, he said the thing. He did the thing. He did the thing where the thing is.
Yeah.
Welcome to Superman 2. You know?
That was bad, yeah, for sure.
Because I'm Superman 4, the quest for peace. Yeah. What do you guys think of the title Disturbia, though?
I don't hate it, but I did have that song stuck in my head all week.
You know, I remember when this movie came out, I was like, Disturbia. Like, what does that mean? You know, why is it called it? It's like, oh, it's a play on suburbia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disturbing, so it's Disturbia. But I remember thinking the title was kind of nonsensical when you just could have called it Rear Window 2, The Awakening.
The Awakening. Could have called it Amityville Horror 5, The Backpack or something.
Yeah, The Backpack, Amityville. I think that was actually 25, Lydia. I think that's how much there are at that one.
Right, time. Yeah, you're right. I don't know,
So
something ridiculous. A slight frown.
A slight frown, yep. So what do you guys think of Disturbia? Derek?
I'm going to give it a 6.5.
A what?
A 6.5.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you said 2.
Oh, no. No.
I thought the acting for the most part was okay. I mean, it had a couple of like little things there, but I mean, it was entertaining. I liked it. It probably won't be 15 more years before I watch it again. So
right. Yeah. What say you, Lydia?
I'm thinking, it's kind of tough. It's like this movie is really entertaining. But watching it critically, I did have like a lot of issues that kind of bugged me a little bit. But like all in all, like the acting was good. The suspense was great. I do think this is a very suspenseful movie.
Yeah, it wrings all it can out of the Rear Window formula. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, I'll give it a 6.
I'm about where both you guys are. I'm with you, Derek. I'm going to give it a 6.5. I like this movie. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's pretty solid. I think, like I said, I had a good time when I remember us watching it, walking out, and I was like, that was actually pretty good. I didn't know what to expect, but that was actually pretty good. And this watch, I felt the same thing. Had, like I said, some nostalgia for the time capsule stuff in it, and remembering that time of my life, you know, and all that stuff was fun too. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's a solid 6.5. Obviously, it doesn't reach the heights of Rear Window, which is at another level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was actually, dude, after I watched it, I was like, I kind of want to watch Rear Window because it is like just a flawless movie. I mean, I think we gave it all 10s, right? It was pretty flawless.
Probably.
But yeah, I like this one. It's pretty solid, 6.5.
So
now,
gave
guys,
it a 10. Lydia gave it a 9, and I gave it a 9.5.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
So it was up there.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, it's great. So guys, it's time to Atkinize Disturbia. Who would the great Tom Atkins play in this?
The detective. No, the cop. No, the teacher.
No, you can't just say all of his usual roles.
No, I don't know. He would actually probably be pretty good as the killer.
Yeah, they can do that.
That would be really scary.
Yeah, yeah, and you could see why the mom would be into him as well.
And the girlfriend.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
But those feelings
she would
would be
definitely
real.
really be into him.
When she got back to tell them what happened, and they were like saying, he broke into your car, but you said he was nice.
Yeah,
Like he held you hostage. Do you have like what is that like Stockholm syndrome or something?
yeah, she has that thing that thing where she falls in love with her captor, and she's, what are you talking about? Yeah, there's some pretty funny dialogue in the movie that I
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
But especially between them. Guys, we didn't really talk about it, but I'm going to mention it real quick. The party scene is so dumb.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was so grossed out by this whole party scene.
It's just hilarious. He's like, I don't like that she's talking to other men, even though she's only talked to me 3 times and I stopped her from her
Yes.
room.
Dude, I yelled. I was like, you don't own her, you creep. Like, get
Yeah, he
away.
definitely got really possessive when she brought it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly because, I mean, I'm sure some of it was jealousy, like, oh, I can't be there. You need to be in this like pity party with me. But also,
Well,
it did seem very possessive, as in,
and he knows
I
those
like it.
guys and knows that he doesn't like them already. So that was like
Yeah.
another thing that's just setting him off. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
Also,
don't
you're
know
going to just be
you.
brain dead. Yeah.
They don't know you like I know you because I've been watching you through your window. And that's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to is people just really want to be seen, you know? They
See,
want to be
and
seen.
I think here's the pitfall this one fell into that Rear Window doesn't, is they don't make Jimmy Stewart a creep in Rear Window, right? Like
Right.
his relationship is separate from his viewing his neighbors. Like
Yeah.
those are separate things. He's watching them from afar, just kind of like amusement, you know. But he doesn't
Because
need the
that's
help.
what he does. He's
Yeah.
a photographer. He's an observer of life.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Rear
And
Window's
then the
so good.
girl, and the whole issue was the girl like wanted him really bad and wants to marry him, and he's like not interested at all.
He's not interested in marriage until she wants to stay the night with him that one night. Then I would have been interested in marriage. I can tell you that. So guys, Derek, you said you had a story for us about Spanish class. Do tell.
Oh, yeah. So I had so in high school, I was not the most dedicated of students. And I fell asleep in my Spanish class like all the time. Anyway, I remember that was like the only class that I got an F in high school. Because I had no motivation. I had no willingness to want to do it. And anyway, so I remember like Hobbs yelling at me we were like in the weight room. It was it was during wrestling practice. And we had to like turn our report cards in so they could take a look at them and stuff like that. And he was like, I remember Chris McKinney was like working out, like was my lifting partner at the time, and Hobbs like, what are you gonna do one day if you're dropped off in a Mexican jungle? You're never gonna get out. I remember Chris McKinney like looking at me like, what? Crazy hypothetical scenario.
He was trying to motivate you.
He was.
Yeah.
Teach you how important it is.
And on traveling, huh?
He was
say?
just showing the importance.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
importance of
I get the
That's so
point,
hilarious.
but
That's
just
so
the way
funny.
he phrased it and the scenario, I was like, I don't see myself in that scenario ever.
I think I'm safe from that happening. Thanks. That's so funny. All right, Lydia.
You love her jobs.
Yes.
What movie are we watching next week?
Okay, so I've been going kind of back and forth between two. So I guess maybe I'll let you guys pick.
Oh,
Do
I'm
you
good
want?
at this.
Okay, let me think about it. Hang on. Okay, so okay, A or B? Red pill or blue pill?
Blue pill all day.
Derek, what say you?
I mean, I'm a I'm a B kind of guy. But I don't know if that is the red pill or
right.
the blue pill.
All right,
I
Jake's
figured
gonna
it's
be
blue.
happy. Jake's gonna be happy. We're gonna do Long Legs.
Oh, okay.
I've kind of wanted to
Nicolas
see this.
Cage. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about this movie,
don't
so I'm
either.
kind
I
of
don't either.
nervous. We saw it on the TV, and Jake really wants to watch it, so he suggested that I pick it soon so that we can
What
watch
was
it.
your other one?
Aliens.
Oh, ooh, that's a fucking great one.
So yeah, so
But-
I was really hoping
I've seen
Aliens.
Long Legs, so that'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can still do Aliens next time,
Yeah, of course.
or
We'll do Aliens.
next pick or whatever.
We'll get to Aliens. We'll get to all the Alien movies. You know what? I saw Alien. Never mind. I'll tell you guys later. Yeah. All right. So where's Long Legs streaming?
I have no idea.
I think it's
probably
it's
on Prime.
It's either on Netflix or it's on Max. I remember seeing it recently.
Yeah, I hope
Long
it's
Legs is
streaming
streaming on Hulu
Hulu. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe you're right.
and Disney Plus. And then you can rent it everywhere else. You can rent it from Fandango, Apple, Google, Amazon Prime.
Cool.
So
I'm
there you
scared.
go.
I'm scared already.
Yeah, I'm not seen it. I'm afraid of long legs. Or maybe sometimes I like long legs, depending upon who they're attached to. Huh? Huh?
Yeah, I still think my joke
So,
about the
I'll drink a
Bon
water.
Voyage is better.
Derek, you're wild today. Thanks, Hulk. Thanks for your input
No problem, brother.
from like an old Terry Bolivia. Oh, that's too good. All right, guys, that's our show. Be sure to comment down below on your thoughts on this movie, Disturbia. Next week, we'll be watching The Long Legs. It's about spiders. It's not. It's about a serial killer, but we're going to pretend like it is because I like doing that. It is available on Hulu or Disney Plus, which is hilarious that you can get it in Disney Plus.
That was freaky.
Because they got a like partnership or something.
Yep, with Hulu. Yep, they're both owned by the old House of Mouse. Be sure to watch the opening scene of the movie. Click on that stuff, and we'll keep you posted on all good things Secret Admirer coming up. So until next week, for Derek, Lemaster, and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.